You're staring at the question, and you studied this. You made beautiful notes, highlighted every important sentence, reread the chapter 3 times, and you can't produce a single paragraph from memory.
3 different study strategies, 3 different feelings, same result. What if the problem isn't how you study, but what your brain mistakes for learning?
Here's what I actually do. I read the textbook, copy the important parts into my notebook, organize it, color code it, make it look incredible. And when I'm done, it feels like I accomplished something huge. But then on the test, blank. The information is in my notebook, not in my brain.
I have notebooks from university I spent hours making beautiful. I can't remember a single thing from them.
Or this, I'm reading something important and I feel this little spike of panic. Don't lose this. So I highlight it, bookmark it, screenshot it, save it to Notion. Instant relief. 2 days later, someone asks what I learned. Blank. I have 47 highlighted sentences and 0 understanding.
I checked my ReadWise last month. 4,200 highlights. Couldn't remember reading most of the books.
And then there's the one that scares me most, because it feels the least wrong. I just reread the chapter again. And every time, it makes a little more sense. The words are familiar. The concepts click. I feel ready. And then on the exam, same result. I can picture the page. I can almost see the paragraph, but the answer is gone.
I did this last week with a report. Read it twice. Felt solid. Couldn't summarize paragraph 2 without looking. 3 completely different approaches. One feels like pride. One feels like panic management. One feels like genuine understanding. And somehow, they all end in the same blank stare. What's the common thread?
So it's a focus problem? I'm not paying enough attention while I study?
If it were purely an attention problem, you'd feel checked out while studying. But you don't. You feel locked in. The problem isn't that you're not paying attention. It's that your attention is locked onto the surface, the formatting, the capturing, the familiar words, instead of the meaning underneath. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you drive through a city with GPS 3 times. You see every turn. You recognize every landmark. After 3 drives, you'd probably say, I know this route. Take the GPS away and drop yourself at the same intersection. 3 identical roads. You're immediately lost. Your brain has 2 completely different modes for knowing something. One says, I've seen this before. That's GPS mode. Fast, automatic, and it feels exactly like knowledge. The other says, I can get there myself. That's navigation, and it only develops when you have to drive without the GPS. When you study with the material in front of you, and most of us do, the default mode is GPS. Your brain pattern matches instead of producing. The test needs navigation mode, and for most people, most of the time, they never practice navigating.
So all 3 strategies, the notes, the highlighting, the rereading, they're all GPS mode?
By default, every single one. Watch, making beautiful notes? You're moving information from the textbook to your notebook. And when the material is right in front of you the entire time, your brain tends to invest less effort in encoding it. The information is already accessible, so there's less urgency to store it internally. The pride of a finished page goes straight to instant relief. Highlighting and saving? You press the anxiety off switch. 1 click, instant relief. Your brain does some surface processing, enough to select what feels important. But the deep encoding that builds recall? That barely happens. Panic resolved. Almost nothing stored. Rereading? Each pass makes the words feel more familiar. Your confidence climbs. But you rarely have to produce the information from a blank page. Comfort delivered. Vault empty.
3 strategies. 3 different emotions driving them. But the same route. Everything goes to instant relief. Almost nothing reaches long-term storage.
And the same lie, you're learning. Let me map it. Each strategy has its own emotional driver, and that's what makes each trap invisible.
Pride, panic, and comfort. 3 completely different feelings, and they're all telling me the same lie.
The lie is always, you're learning. Your brain just uses different flavors of fake evidence to sell it.
Okay, but all 3 of these feel genuinely productive while I'm doing them. The notes feel productive, the saving feels responsible, the rereading feels thorough. So you're telling me my brain is lying to me 3 different ways?
Your brain isn't lying. It's accurately reporting what it's doing. Organizing, capturing, recognizing. Those are real cognitive activities. They are. The problem isn't that they're fake. The problem is that none of them are navigation. Your brain rarely had to produce that information on its own. And the research is consistent. Your brain stores things far more durably when it's had to retrieve them, not just recognize them.
So my brain is working hard at the wrong thing. All 3 times.
Working hard at GPS mode. While the test and life demands navigation, your brain has a blind spot here. It assumes that because something is easy to read right now, it'll be easy to remember later. The ease is real. The durability isn't. You see the sentence and think, I know this. But the page is doing half the remembering for you, so the productive feeling was real. It just wasn't proof of durable learning.
So I'm not lazy. I'm not stupid. I'm not bad at studying.
You're running 3 different strategies that all feed GPS mode and starve the navigation mode the test actually checks.
Every time I felt productive making notes, I was feeding GPS mode the whole time. Every time I felt relieved saving something, same detour. Every time I felt confident rereading, I was the tourist congratulating myself on a drive I couldn't repeat without the map.
3 feelings, 1 lie. And the lie is always, you're learning.
The comfort was the trap. Every time, in all 3.
And the discomfort, that strain of trying to produce something from nothing, that's learning starting. That's the competence battery finally getting a charge. But knowing the lie isn't enough to stop it. You've understood this pattern for about 30 seconds. Your brain has been running it for years. Here's something we've noticed, and we want you to test it yourself. Each of these traps tends to arrive with its own physical sensation. Not a guaranteed signal, but a pattern worth watching for. A kind of early warning system you can train yourself to notice. Here's what to watch for. 3 sensations, 1 for each trap. Not a diagnosis, an experiment. See if these match your experience. That satisfying glow when you finish a beautifully organized page? That warmth in your chest? That sense of accomplishment? That's worth noticing, because it might be your brain rewarding the artifact rather than the understanding. Diagnostic question. Did I just produce this from memory, or copy it from somewhere? That tightening when you see something important and think, don't lose this. The spike of urgency right before your hand reaches for save? That's worth pausing on, because it might be anxiety asking to be managed rather than information asking to be learned. Diagnostic question. Am I saving this because I understand it, or because I'm panicking about losing it? That comfortable, I've got this feeling during a reread? Behind the eyes, settling into the back of your head, that smooth certainty? That's worth questioning, because it might be GPS mode wrapping itself in the costume of navigation. Diagnostic question. Could I explain this right now without looking, or does it just feel familiar?
3 feelings, 3 questions, 3 ways to catch the lie before it lands.
This week, try one thing. Before you study anything, pause for 3 seconds and ask, am I about to feed GPS mode or navigation mode? If the answer is GPS, close the source. Grab a blank page. Write what you remember. Feel the discomfort. That's learning starting.
And if it's terrible? If you can barely remember anything?
Then you just discovered the truth your notes, highlights, and rereads were hiding. That blank page is ugly. It's messy and frustrating, and it looks nothing like those beautiful color-coded notebooks. But ugly learning builds the map. Beautiful notes are just photographs of someone else's map that you'll never be able to follow. Each of these patterns has a full deep dive, with its own mechanism explanation, its own experiments, and its own way of catching itself early.
If the pride warmth hit closest to home, start with your perfect notes are making you fail, the input hoarding effect. If the panic spike felt most familiar, watch why your 47 highlighted sentences mean nothing, the capture trap. And if the warm settle scared you most, why rereading teaches you nothing, the familiarity mirage, goes deepest into how comfort becomes a cognitive trap.
And if you've already watched all 3, You now have something the individual videos didn't give you: the unified diagnostic. 3 sensations, 3 questions, 1 pattern. The next time you sit down to study and feel productive, ask which feeling is driving you: pride, panic, or comfort. That 3-second check is worth more than any study system. This week's pattern spotting mission: catch the lie. And we want to hear about it. Tell us in the comments, which trap is your favorite: pride, panic, or comfort? You might be surprised which one your brain defaults to.
And if you tried the blank page test, what did it reveal?
Your notes, your highlights, your rereads. They weren't useless because you chose the wrong method.
They were useless because they let you avoid the one thing your brain actually needs.
The struggle of producing information from nothing.
The discomfort of discovering what you don't know.
The lie was always, you're learning. Now you can feel it arriving and choose differently.